Holly. Thank you so much for being here today. We're so grateful that we get to interview you. I would love if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, Courtney. So nice to be on the show right now. I love your podcast. My name is Holly Hester. I'm basically an author. I'm an artist. I'm a life coach. I actually do many things. I'm a host on the Fashion News Live network. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a long road. It's pretty interesting ride, and I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. I would love if you could tell us what your book is about.
Absolutely, Courtney. So, my book is called Higher Living, an insightful look into living a higher life. Um, it's basically about mindset versus mentality. It's about starting. And you say, I've already started. No, you haven't. You haven't started with a mindset because people growing up, I always, when I heard mindset and mentality, I'm like, oh, what's the difference? Why am I writing this book about? But then as I continue to write it, what separated my mindset was from everyone else was not that my mind was so much better than everyone else, and not that my thoughts were, but that my mind was set. It was set on things. It was fixed on things because I would really have a lot of debates growing up with people, not argumentatively, but just sort of like I would say this, and I would say, you know what, it's better this way, and they would go, well, I think it's better that way. And you know what, at the end of the day, some of my choices and the majority of my choices, even as a kid, really kind of worked. And it's not because they were even best, but because they came from that generational mindset of good values and good morality and good things and just kind of ideas and an entrepreneuring background. And so um, I wrote the book Higher Living because higher living is about a mindset. Many mentalities were not bad growing up, and they were never bad. But then it became this new wave, Courtney, of mindset. And what mind is mindset means in essence is your mind is set on something, and your mind has to be set on something positive. Your mind has to be set on a good attitude. Your mind has to be set on starting a business. Your mind has to be set on being a good parent and being a good businesswoman like you are, and so just things like that. Your mind has to be set on like podcasting and things that you're successful on. Your mind is set on that right now, like we're having this conversation. I found out, Courtney, that throughout time I've seen, and I was kind of raised in this. This is not always the case with everyone, and this is not always the case of 65% of everyone. Matter of fact, I grew up as a missionary, so a humanitarian's daughter and an entrepreneur's daughter because I came from a divorced home. And so my mother and my stepfather, my real father actually had he was clinically depressed bipolar. And so my mother was in a great mindset despite she had a terrible childhood. And so despite her terrible childhood, she actually grew up with a better mindset than my father. Was it because she was raised in church? No. Or not, was it not, excuse me, she wasn't raised in church. Was because at a young age she decided to you know do more things with her heart because she had a heart of compassion towards others, and especially a heart toward families and stuff like that? No, it was because her heart and her mind was set on being a good mother despite her upbringing, and was set on trying to make a marriage work. Her mind was set on getting properties and being a good businesswoman and just working. She needed to pay bills. She needed to provide for three kids. Her mind was set on that. So my mind started to wrap around what the mind could be set on. I neglected a mentality, and I went into a mindset mode. So that's really what this book is about. It's about starting to have a good mindset and starting somewhere, anywhere.
Amazing. What inspired you to write your book?
Many, many things. I realized, well, for one, we're in a world where people are lacking purpose. They so want to know their purpose. And I've been around some very motivational people. I've been around people with depression and mental illnesses. That's interesting. I've been around people, who are creative and artsy. I've been around all sorts of people. And what I found is that people just want to know where to give their time. They want to know how valuable they are. They want to give of themselves. They want to see the value in this world. They want to see things to keep going and for motivation. They want to feed that positivity. I always hear, you have such a, yeah, really love your energy. You have such a positive energy. And I'm like, you don't even know. It's basically just because I've had to work on myself a lot. So it's just one of those things where when they're saying that, no, it's real. And so when you're saying I really like your energy or you have positive energy, what you're really saying is I really like your spirit. I kind of like what you're about. I kind of like what you kind of believe. And subconsciously I feel what you believe and I like it. Well, what I believe is what I wrote in my book. There's a chapter in it called Blueprints, and it's this businessman called Zhang Yao, and interestingly enough, he never wanted to go to college. In the book, he actually became successful not as a landscaper, not as a contractor, even though he has record setting one of the most monumental skyscrapers in all of China, really all of Japan, and that whole region. It's not that he actually got his start selling air conditioning units, early on. And so that was a shocker, is what a lot of people don't know. And he actually had to grab a hold of his education level despite his parents, because his parents didn't even understand him and what he was about. So that's one of the chapters. And I find that so interesting. So what made me start the book really was around a mindset like that. Is I want to expose different ways to say in each chapter of how you can do something, how you can be motivated, how you can believe, how you can start, and how you can start to say, to see how your perspective can shift. I know I'm related to somebody who has their own air conditioning company, and so they can very much relate to this businessman, because you don't have to go to Harvard to be the smartest person in the room. Things like that. So that's what got me to start it.
When you were writing your book, who were you thinking of when it comes to who your book is for?
Oh, definitely for my generation, because there's a lot said in there about family. I very much encourage family and the love of family. There's a chapter in my book about a story that I tell, a little note. I lost my grandmother. My mother lost her mother at a young age, 10 years old. But before that, she made her mother a crochet that said, "Mother, the sweetest thought in life." And it was crocheted. And it was in the 60s. And she crocheted it for her mother. Well, her mother survived and she died in a car accident. And unfortunately, and there's a chapter, an excerpt in my book where my mother, I don't know how, but she got it. It was passed down to her. And so just warm things like that to embrace. And it sounds so simple and it sounds so quintessential. And at times it may anger a lot of people. I hope it doesn't, because I've had more positivity than I've had, of any kind of negative feedback. And the negative feedback are because people don't quite know how to let their hurts go, in that way. But the positive feedback that I've got was, Holly, this book is really warm, and this book is causing me to really change the way I see family. And so my generation is very much missing family. A lot of my friends had to work 3 jobs just to get through college, and they really never heard an "I love you" from either one of their parents. They never made any crochets and knitting and things like that. They never did those kind of things, those kind of gestures for their parents, because their parents never did that with them. Their parents just kind of went through the motion, and they were raised well, but they just didn't, their love language was not that toward their child. So mainly my generation, it's geared toward mothers, single mothers, it's geared toward businessmen. I have that chapter in my book. So it's for all generations.
How long have you been writing and what made you really sit down and start?
How long have I been writing? I've been writing for over 10 years, I would say. Oh my gosh, yes. And when did I really start writing? I started writing at 10 years old because that was my first script that I wrote. It was my first script that I wrote, and after I wrote that script, it kind of went into some interesting hands, and that kind of opened the doors to really working with really creative people, and creative people that usually are writers are usually in the entertainment industry. And I didn't know this at 10 years old, and my mother was like, "Oh God, I have to watch myself with you," type of thing, because 10 years old and in Hollywood, you really, she did not want that child star thing going on. So that was an interesting writing conversation with her, despite her upbringing. So it's a good question, Courtney.
What was your schedule like when you were writing your book?
What was my schedule like? Oh my gosh, very hectic. Um, you don't get calls for anything, hardly. You get maybe text here and there. All of a sudden you're writing, and you're writing chapter this, chapter that, and you're thinking of stuff that could really edit this, and then going on to that, and you're just really doing your last minute touches. You get bombarded with calls. And so you really kind of have to hone in and kind of lock yourself down in completing a book. But my schedule was, when I was writing a book, my perspective shifted. I was doing a lot more research on things. I was paying attention to a lot more conversations. I was trying to grow myself, so I was reading as well as writing. I was going to seminars. I was listening to mentors. I was self-helping, and I was really, 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 and I'm still doing that. But it was really a time of discipline for me. My schedule was, it was a very disciplined schedule. It was not, I'm writing, okay, now the rest of my day. You really kind of have to, chart out, and you have to prioritize. So my schedule looked very, very, very strict. I didn't have a lot of a social life then. and and I kind of had to look rude to some people, because you just kind of have to lock yourself in, like I'm sure you do with your podcasting. I'm sure, to make it this successful. So it's a good question.
What do you need in your writing space to help you stay focused?
Oh, probably music, as crazy as that sounds, because some people are just different than others, and how they develop. Yeah, probably music, jazz music a lot. I'll just put on very relaxing, easy listening to music. No one else in the room. I'll probably do it in the daytime, because at night, it's darker, and so it's a psychological thing, and you're really kind of fading, especially if you're an early morning person like I am. You really start to fade. You kind of, tune it down a little bit, yeah, it's just one of those things. No one around. You just in a room, you finish your thoughts. It's very scheduled. I can't do anything on my phone anymore. Like, I can't put memos and everything like that immediately. My stuff has to go from my phone to my computer. So, it's not for the scattered. So I've had to work a lot of that out.
What is your favorite writing snack and drink?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. My favorite writing snack and drink. My favorite writing drink is coffee. My favorite writing snack is probably sweet and salty bar. Give Sweet and Salty brand a shout out there. Sweet and salty, yeah. And probably a trail mix, that kind of thing. My snack. Um, the snack things that I snack on are honestly really good quotes and stuff. Quotes, and just like, stuff that I remember listening to positive voices, because that's really what compels me to write too, is, just kind of what your soul takes out of somebody else and puts into your own. You're not copying them, but just kind of putting everything into your own words and what you've done. So other than just snacking and just coffee, it got me through college. It got me through writing. It got me through my first book. So, you know.
What type of books do you personally enjoy reading?
Oh, psychological and neurological things with the mind. Atomic Habits is a really good book by Greg something or other. His name is Greg Walt or something like that. His first name is definitely Greg. It's been so long. I read that probably at least 5 times. Atomic Habits. Mindsets, love languages, the 5 love languages, anything to deal with psychology, anything to deal with habits and habit breaking, and things that just really study with the person. I've read a lot of books on body languages and things that you really kind of have to focus on, because in order for perspectives to shift, it's really helped me. It's helped me in my writing process. So
Are there any books or authors that inspired you to become a writer?
oh, many. And if I can go religious too. Probably if I can. Joyce Meyer is one of them. In her story, it's a very profound story. Um, for sure. There are many motivational, and then getting out of religion, there are many motivational men and women out there. Um, and this is gonna, I don't know how controversial it's gonna be. Tillman Fertitta. It's just basically it's like a shut up and listen type of read. It's very vulgar, but it's got a lot of truth and principles to it. It's basically so simple with doing what any entrepreneur is going to do, because he started as a dishwasher and as just a clerk and a cashier. His story is so interesting, and he wasn't afraid to do anything, and he wasn't to he was so humble, and yet he just worked and he built an empire. It's so as simple as that. So the simplicity and the profoundness of a story. I do not recommend it for anyone who's a minor, but it's a great story. Um, Other books include, like I said, the 5 love languages, Atomic Habits. Oh, there are so many books. I also study art books. I just kind of get away. I read art, just things like that, masterpiece and acrylic, just like that. Of course, that's not really people, but that's just, sometimes words are even a bombard. Sometimes you just kind of need that escape. But yeah, there's so many books out there. At the top of my head, really, Atomic Habits and other books like that have popped into my head. There is a book on business, the seven steps in business. I believe there's a book on that, basically preparing in the business world, like the 7 steps of a highly effective person, 7 habits of a highly effective person, something like that. So,
What books did you grow up reading? Did you have an all-time favorite?
um, like I said, I grew up in a religious setting where we were kind of forced to read the Bible. So it was one of those things, so that's kind of instilled in me. And so, but other books, like I said, the 5 love languages really helped me, because I was raised, like I said, one of my parents was had a personality disorder. So the who I was related to, my siblings and I actually, were forced to grow up very early, extremely early. And so we just kind of read books that really no one else our age read. And I don't even know how, I read books that my sister, like the other Boleyn girl, kind of getting out of the learning thing, and, things like that, where it's just, centuries old, where, and really fascinated me about women and stuff like that, and how little of rights that women had, and, how we've come so far, so to just things like that. So books growing up, to me, really no books. I was kind of honestly a TV watcher. I would also, just kind of write. I was a big time writer. I was a movie watcher. I liked the golden ages in Hollywood. So
On the other side of that, now as an adult, what are your favorite series or authors that if they come out with something, you automatically grab it?
oh, okay. That's so interesting. So if anyone's going to come out, I would probably do a sequel to Atomic Habits. Probably for sure, I would do that. Not probably for sure. As far as anything else, um, the seven steps of a very highly effective person, yes, that would be it. Anything that I would get off the shelf more. There's this new book that I'm actually going into. One of the book is anxiety and what it can lead to and that sort of things. And anxiety is such a huge issue that we face today. There's a book on anxiety. I forget the title. Someone told me about that, and it just explains everything that goes wrong and how to avoid it. And even if you weren't diagnosed with it, just people around you, because the truth is, eight out of every eight people, one out of every eight people have it. So you do the math. If you're around it, or if it's kind of going to affect you in that way, or going to, affect decision making, because that person that has anxiety is going to, base their decision that they have, and then that's going to affect you, type of thing. And then you're going to go, oh, I don't like this, type of thing. But then they're your friend, or there's somebody that are in your social group. And then that kind of makes it a little bit awkward, and you kind of have to maneuver around that. And so that, yes. Like I said, there are just so many, books out there, but it's a good question. I definitely need to look more into that.
What would you tell someone just starting out with reading again?
I would tell somebody, don't rush it. As a kid, I always felt rushed in reading a book. You can't. In order to really feed your soul, you have to read a book, and you kind of have to really drink it in. You just kind of have to, you just take it all. I would advise somebody, what was the best part about that book and what made them get it? And just kind of write that down. That would be my advice to somebody. And also read books that you've never read. Read them again. Don't be afraid to read something that you haven't read before, and don't let religion stop you from reading a book about other religions, that sort of thing. And don't let anything stop you from venturing out. Read about things. Don't go too much into them, especially if they're like, if you kind of feel a negativity toward them or something like that. To each his own, and to each their own. And that will be your decision to make. But I just say, be open to change, be open to journaling through it, be open to how it made you feel. And because sooner or later, all that journaling from the ideas that you learned in that book and how you were feeling that day are going to lead to something. So that, and just keep on going, just keep reading. And I would say read as much as you can. Read as much as you can. Don't rush the reading, and just keep it going. And remember your favorite books, write them down.
On the other side of that, what would you tell someone just starting to write their own book?
What would I tell somebody that's starting to write their own book? Well, first I would probably say, it would be none of my business. But why? Why are you writing that book? I mean, I'm not going to tell you can't. I'm never going to tell anybody that they can't. I'm just going to say it's a process. So why are you writing it? And if you feel your truth, and if your mindset is enough where you feel like you have something to say, definitely. And then I would ask them, what have you been journaling? What do you feel like you need to journal more? And what information do you feel in your life that needs to get out there that hasn't already been out there before? Because I tell everyone this, not everyone is a book writer. I mean, there are books out there that probably haven't needed to be written, and there are books right now that are not books yet, but they need to be written, and they're just on a journal you know so it's one of those things where, yeah, that's what I would say to somebody who wants to write a book. Be mindful of the process, be patient. Don't think you're going to be in New York Times instantly. Have patience, and just love the writing process, love what you're writing, believe in what you're writing, hold to what you're writing, and don't let anyone shut you down in that way. So that's kind of what I would say to anyone who wants to write. It's a beautiful process.
What's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
Ah, oh Lord, how much I can read them. Um, After sitting down 5 minutes with somebody, I could probably tell you things that they don't think I know about them that are spot on. I could probably tell you at least two things about yourself because I'm really perceptive. I can read the room very well. I've been that way since a child because I was an ambiverted person. I got my energy from people and from being alone. And so being with people, I read them because I wasn't always the in crowd. I was an outcast for most of my childhood. So it got me to really pay attention because I had no filter. And this would not work to my advantage. This would be disadvantageous for the first part of my life. So I really kind of had to learn. I had to maneuver past things. I didn't have it easy, So, I mean, I grew up in a religious home, yes, but that doesn't always mean you get stuff, that doesn't always mean you're sheltered. That doesn't always mean you have stuff handed to you. So I really kind of come from that and things like that. And I actually come from trauma. So I learned from that. So what do people don't know about me is I'm very choosy. Um what people don't know about me. I can paint anything. I could paint you right now if you wanted me to. That's very interesting. I'm a lot more musical than people think. And there's kind of a lot. I'm not as wordy as people think. I'm very quiet, and I'd probably stare at you a lot before I'd say, before I'd finish the whole conversation with you. That's a good question, Courtney.
Is there anything you would like to say or add?
Oh, yes. No one else can take your crown but you, said Eleanor Roosevelt. And this is so true. Don't let anyone take your crown because you have a crown, first of all. You wear it well. And as long as you hold it up and you walk with it gracefully, you're unstoppable.
Amazing. Where's the best place for readers to find your book? I know some readers love signed copies. Is that an option? And the best place to connect with you?
Yes, it is an option. I will be in New Jersey, Paramus, New Jersey, signing it at the new Barnes and Noble over there. I'll be doing a book signing there. I've done many book signings in Los Angeles. I'm all over with book signings. Despite where I live, I have to leave my house a lot, so it's okay. I love people, so it's all good. I would love to sign it for you. That's my favorite part. To sign it for you, to personally take the time to get to know you and to take a picture with you and to hear you out. And I love people and I love what they have to say and remember your name. Hopefully I can remember your name. I'm horrible with names, but I'm getting better. My social medias at Higher Living Holly. You can find me on any Barnes and Noble, iTunes, and Apple platform. I am on those with my book. All you have to do is type in my name, Holly Hester, on Google. You'll find excuse me, Higher Living into Google. Barnes and Noble will pop up there. Click. My website is also on my Instagram page. I'm very accessible. I also have Facebook, yes, and I have LinkedIn as well. It's under the name Holly Hester, so you can find me on there. You can follow me. We can connect. We can network. We can business. Electronic signatures are also. I'm able to do that with you, and I would love to.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're so grateful that we got to interview you. We'll be sure to drop those links in the show notes. And again, thank you so much.
Courtney, you've been incredible.